name is Ethan Connon, and I am taking a video game development course in Go Lake High School. And today we'll be going over week 2. So we're going to start off with my product management here, and the whole point of this product management is to keep an ordered list of what we did and when we did it. So we have a to-do, a doing, and a done list here. And what we do is we put these backlogs in here that follow the tutorial list that Unity Essentials provides. So Editor Essentials, 3D Essentials, Audio Essentials, Programming Essentials, 2D Essentials, all that. And in these backlogs we have sprint task lists, and these are the sections of each chapter. I'll call it chapter, tutorial, whatever you want to call it. Uh, and as we work through it, we check these off, and it's kind of like a progress list almost. So I'm working on Programming Essentials right now, but recently I finished Editor Essentials, 3D Essentials, and Audio Essentials. This one's the most recent here. I'll talk over what I learned and what I did in the newest ones in a second here. Alright, so this is my GitHub. Um, we got the same tutorial things that I was talking about before with our product management. It isn't ordered in this because I just pulled it from a cloned repository. We had problems and I had to clone it a couple times to get it to work with me. So my history is gonna be a little iffy just because of that, because I can't pull back commits. I can pull back the I guess the information that I had saved before. So it's all jumbled up in these three commits here for Editor Essentials and I think it's 3D Essentials. Yeah. But if we go Audio Essentials, what I've been doing recently, we have ordered commits here from our initial commit, which is just the regular git attributes and the git ignore that we have. Got the editor plus 3D Essentials, which changes the git ignore to ignore the library, because otherwise it'd be like 15,000 files that I'd be committing, which is not good. We got merge pulls and stuff like that, but we got these three things that are seen on our sprint task disk right here. We got create an immersive soundscape, more things to try, and mission 3 quiz. So GitHub, have all this saved to make sure if anything bad happens, it's all saved onto our hard drive and onto the remote. The GitHub website is a better word for it. Just fun stuff. So I did that for creating an immersive soundscape, more things to try, and mission 3 quiz. And that's about the route that it should be going for everything here. And again, only reason I don't have it is because I had to clone repositories and I can't pull commits from there. All right, I'm gonna make this easier for myself and for you to watch. Instead of checking out every commit that I have in GitHub, I'm just gonna go over what I went over in these tutorials. All right, so we're starting with Audio Essentials here. Goes over a lot of the audio stuff, as you can see here. There's a bunch of these speaker phones that gives you visualization of where audio is coming from. So I guess we'll start off with basic stuff where we create an audio source. So start off by right clicking the hierarchy is what it's called. Going to audio and adding a new audio source, and it gives you all this information that you get to mess around with, like play on awake. So once you start, it'll just start playing immediately. You can turn this off and set like an attribute for it to play when this happens, or play when this happens, instead of playing it directly when you start the game. You got looping, which will loop the sound. You got a bunch of different audio resources you get to choose from, and you get to add some down here with like audio and music and all that. You can add stuff into there with files, and get to change volume and all that. It's fun stuff. So I used that to connect audio to different places in this prefab is what it's called. It's a kitchen. So here you got a pot, and we added a sound to it. See if I can see the sound if it lets me. We added an audio source by adding the command and searching up audio source, and went to the audio resources and I selected this bubbling water thing, play on awake, and I looped it. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. I probably have to turn the volume up here. Might be a little loud, but as we start up the game and you walk close to it, you hear this bubbling water sound effect, which is kind of fun. And we made a spatial blend so when you get further away, uh, the sound will get quieter and quieter and quieter until you can't hear it anymore. When you get closer, it gets really loud until it hits the peak. And that's just about everything we went over in this part of the Unity Essentials. I also worked in this tutorial to 3D Essentials, and a lot of it is learning how physics and everything works in this game. So we can just mess around with this for a second. Um, One of the key things that we learned about is adding physics to an object. So we added resources that are called components, uh, like rigid body, uh, and it gives you a mass and gravity and all these constraints that you can add just to mess around with the object. So you can make like a rolling ball um, that knocks over these blocks for like a domino effect, and it'll let you. All right, and we added these blocks by adding a 3D object, and we select a cube. And what we can do with this cube is we can manipulate the scale of it. So I make the x 2, the y 5, and the z 3. That's a pretty big block. So we could do point 0.5 here, point 0.7 here, how about point 0.2. Now we got a much smaller block here. And what we can do is add rigid body to give it mass and all this. And let's see if it works. Give it a second. It's gotta do all its loading. All right, let's see if this works. Because decided just not to load quickly there, and you can see that it falls. And you can't really see it too well right now because it goes so quickly. But once you add a bunch of objects and all of that, it becomes more obvious that different things have different physics just depending on what you switch and what you mess with, and it's kind of fun. We also messed around with the light here, with color and intensity, so you can switch the color to some random thing there. I don't know why I did that. To like a white here. You could switch it to a red, and all that. You can switch the intensity all the way up to 1, and it'll be this really bright red light. So you switch it to blue, and I'll have a really blue light. Um, and a lot of this you can use for like if your background's dark, you could switch the lighting to match the background so it doesn't look like this really bright light in the middle of nowhere. And then the last thing that I worked on recently was adding things from prefabs that we were given. So let's go to prefabs and we can go to kitchen and we can add a cabinet. Why not? You just drag it in from the prefab and it'll do all the work for you there. It'll do all the coding, everything. You can rotate it, just mess around with it, kind of work as some sort of designer or whatever you want to call it. Not my type of thing, but that's pretty much it for what I've learned recently in the second week of Unity Essentials. So this is where we pull all these lessons from. So you got again the editor essentials, 3D essentials, audio essentials, all this. Um, and again, this is what I did recently. What I'm looking forward to having next is programming essentials, because you have to add a movement script, create a rotating collectible, collect a collectible. It's basics of an actual game instead of just being sound and audio and or it's the same thing, but audio and adding blocks and messing around with physics. It's more it's a step up, and that's a little exciting to me. And that sums it up what I've been working on for the past week, for the second week of working on Unity Essentials. Thanks for watching, and I'd recommend looking at my other videos, checking them out, see if you like it, and if you do like it, I'd ask if you do subscribe because it doesn't hurt, doesn't cost anything, it's free. Why not?